This is Ashava. This is Ashava's horn. It's a trophy that we want to get from the Server Slam weekend that devs decided to do on Mother's Day weekend because they have mommy issues. To get it, we're going to have to reach level 20, have decent gear, and do all of this while planning brunch or dinner or whatever your mommy wants. If not, we'll miss out and never have the chance to get it again. So I put together this little guide on reaching level 20 as efficiently as possible. During the beta weekend, I took on Ashava at level 20, but I wasn't really prepared, which is what a lot of people are going to do for Mother's Day weekend. So throughout this video, we'll see little clips of how that fight went. And yeah, that's number one of too many. Now this run I did with the Sork from the open beta with the intention of it being a leveling guide for launch. I challenged myself to a limited gear and to get through Act 1 as efficiently as possible. We're going to start this on World Tier 2 because World Tier 1 is pretty much pointless, and I'll be skipping through a lot of the boring stuff. First, we need to cover some of the key goals. First goal, get XP elixirs from Ashava, but we want to do this as efficiently as possible without wasting any opportunities we have for progression. Second, get all the things along the way. Third, we want to level as fast as possible. Fourth, we want to be set up for success at the end with the most power we can so that we don't die to Ashava more than Bill Murray on Groundhog's Day. So let's get into the first dungeon here. First thing is we want to make sure to kite enemies towards your objective. Now, as you're kiting, you want to try and group them up, take them all out at one time. When you first get in, hit this room off to the left before you go down the main path. There's typically a named elite right here. Take it out and it should be your first blue item. And take this left door right here, then skip. We're going to fight this guy, and the boss is to our right, but we want to hit this area right here because a lot of times there will be another name mob right there. Check your gear for your upgrades before you get to the boss. You won't have too much. Doesn't really matter. He's not that bad. His mechanics are pretty simple, but if you're not prepared for him, they hit hard. So see the little circle? That's where he jumps down at. He does that a few times. He does an overhead triple slam attack that you can dodge out of. And while he's levitating, you can do damage to him. So just hammer him as much as you can.
Nice.
Kill the ads, and we're going to keep going to the next phase of the fight. This little swipe attack with the fireballs that hit you. The fireballs don't do much damage, but they will make you vulnerable. So if you don't dodge those, make sure to dodge everything else. If you just stay on his backside, you should be fine. This fight's pretty easy for range characters, but melee characters kind of have a little bit harder time. Supposedly they might have fixed that. We'll see. And speaking of not dying, let's see for number 2. I almost get knocked out to the swallow attack, but then he just does a slam and takes me out right there. So that's number 2. All right, at the end of the boss fight for the dungeon, click the rope and get out. Just head back to the story. Now skip on the main story, which is really great. You really should watch it. If it's your first playthrough, take your time with it, enjoy it. For this guy right here, we need to get a key from one of the dead bodies, but you have to talk to your friend Iosa first, and then go to the body, and then continue the story. And we're gonna jump over here. Now we are finally on the road to Ashava. First thing on your path is our first altar of Lilith. We want to make sure to get those for the extra stat points and especially for the renown. Talk about renown in a little bit here. But before we talk about renown, let's hit the cellar. Also get renown for these. And they give whatever the event is inside, gives pretty good experience. And I believe they updated this so you have a very high probability of getting chest, if it's not every time. Because sometimes doing these, if you don't get reward for it, you get kind of salty. And we're doing those, like I said, for renown. And you have to pull up your renown tab for rewards through the map system. You also have to claim it once you get it. Your first reward gives bonus experience points, a good bit of gold, and 1 extra skill point. For the second reward, you get bonus XP, 10,000 gold, and an extra potion slot, which is really helpful. And for the last one, you get another skill point. So that's going to give us 21 skill points in total by the time we get to level 20. And to get the most out of our runs, we are going to focus on making efficient paths, getting the waypoints, your side dungeons, quests, getting your altars. Now in the background here, we have the spider cave. It's your first kind of weird decision, but all roads lead to Rome, so it doesn't matter which way you go. I always go top just because. After the spider cave, you want to cut left off of the path to grab as many of these herbs and stuff as you can. We're going to use these later on to craft your elixirs. And Ashava, this time I was smart. I tried to redo my build. We were learning the fight, and I still died instantly. All right, once that goes away, thank you. But we're going to jump to Kiovashad and talk to the old man that taunts you with his mount that we really, really want. Head up to the center of town, grab your waypoint, talk to the merchant. So you have to buy Lorath's polearm from him. It's only 20 gold, so it's not that big a deal. But take this time to sell all of your extra junk as well. Now, before you leave, don't leave like I do here. You can hear him calling. Go and grab the amulet on the counter, then head back to Lorath. He turns that in, skip, and we're going to head down to get the elixirs. Now, your first elixir, and really all the elixirs, I recommend using the Weak Iron Barb elixir. It comes available at level 5, which you should be level 5 by the time you get there. You should have plenty of mats for it. You should have a little bit of gold. Gold might be an issue when you first run through, but these are in stacks of 5, and we can put them on the emote wheel. You pull up the emote wheel by pressing E, and then customize. We're going to go to the consumables tab, click and drag it down to the emote wheel, pull up the wheel again, and then start your elixir. All right, back in the center of town, we're going to grab this first side quest right here, and then head back up toward the statue where you can change your world tier. It's pretty easy. It's right there. By this guard captain here that's having some problems. We're going to help her out, come up to the emote wheel, and cheer these guys on to the north of her. And a lot of people will have issues with that side quest because they know about the emote wheel, but also you need to use your middle mouse button and scroll to the second page of the emote wheel. All right, then once you turn in, you get a little materials cache from her, and we're gonna skip over a big chunk of this story part, but I'll leave it up so you can kind of see the basics. Before we get started back on the main campaign, I'm gonna look at a little trick that we learned from Majestic Gaming. Great YouTube channel. He's got some really good deep dives into all the stuff for Diablo 4. I highly recommend checking him out. So right here, there's a little event that spawns on a regular basis, and it's right outside of town, so it's easy to get to. So we're gonna run that way, and in the beta, you could farm it. Before we do that, the main campaign quest and the temple, make sure to grab the little thing on the altar there. Now that we are outside of Kiovashad to the north, and we go to this little market right here, but you can see there's no event going on. Sometimes it happens in the world. All you have to do is teleport back into town. You can go hit the merchant or anything else like that, but just come right back and bam, now we have an event. Now for this event, you have these little shamans that spawn all around. You have to kill each one of them individually and then kill the main boss. Every time you kill them, it'll end up spawning more. They do kind of hurt, so be careful. Hopefully you have a group for these fights, and we're not doing the next boss fight yet. This event goes down pretty good. Once you finish that part, the boss dude gets all his health points back, and you got to kill him, but that's it. And that was a quick one. That back swipe attack does a lot of damage and will basically one-shot everybody. So don't get hit by those. That's number 4. A different death each time, I think. I'm gonna blame the devs. I'm not gonna say it was me using a bad build or anything. All right, back to the main storyline. If we look at the map, so if we look down to the left, you can see there's a waypoint we don't have. This is our starting town that transforms into a town that doesn't want to kill you anymore for whatever reason. Don't know. And I'll explain why we don't go there yet later on. First, we want to continue on the Tarnished Luster path. We're going to head down to our marker. Make sure whenever you're doing these quests, place your marker down. It helps tremendously. Use them, abuse them. As you leave Kiovashad from the south gate, there's an altar of Lilith to the left, and then a little bit farther, there's another event. Make sure to knock those out. I missed it in this run because my goal was to complete Act 1 as fast as possible. You can have one party member kind of running around doing other stuff while you're running to your main quest, and then they can TP to you, but it might be more efficient. That's just something we'll have to test once we get there. Grab this little side quest note here, and we get another event. There's typically always a lot of events in this area. This one is a little bit harder for melee classes and very easy for the wizard and range classes, because you have to stand on these platforms as they go down. It takes a little while. Don't die, just stand there and kill all the things. Problem with melee class is you can't just stand there if you want to not die and get squished like I'm about to right here. Jump away. Yeah, dodge, just walk straight into the slam. But I make it back up. Just spam health potions. Look at that, 4 health potions. A pro tip, if you die a bunch of times, you do have to go back to town and repair. And if you're not in a party, you might come back to a different fight. Oh, there's a slam. Oh, nope, nope. Almost. And I'm just spamming the potions, but it doesn't matter. Another back swipe. That's number 4. Back to our normal run here. We're just doing all the events and cellars and everything we can along the way. Now this cellar, I was able to do 2 or 3 times because we could reset it. I'm not sure in the next update if we'll be able to reset it instantly or if it'll take time to reset. We'll just have to see that once we get there. During the leveling process, I'm focusing on AoE abilities to make the experience go faster and more efficiently. Typically, you don't need too many defense skills along the way. I found everything died pretty quickly and didn't hurt too bad. Now we get to Yelesna, which is probably one of my favorite towns. Everything's really tight and compact. You have most of what you need here. After we grab the waypoint, we're going to head up to the Hog's Head, where we can buy a Whispering Key from the Ubel's guy. Now, these are used to unlock a silent chest that you find randomly in the world. Now, one of the best side quests in the game for Act 1 is here. We're going to talk to Christina with 2 eyes and try to help her find her old man. Oh, before we get hit again by a swipe attack. That makes 6 deaths and 5 minutes left. And while we're doing all of this, you should have a map of the Altars of Lilith pulled up. That way you can drop a pin where you think the altar kind of is. So we're just grabbing some of the ghoul parts here for one of the side quests. And from here, we're going to grab this Altar of Lilith, continue this side quest with another event right here. Now, you've seen this event. I'm not going to show it again, but it does spawn like every time I've done this side quest. So it's probably always right here. And it's really funny how the old lady just chills. It's just normal life in Sanctuary. All right, so skipping the story and looking at claiming our first reward for Renown. Get that extra skill point. Check for your items. Now let's talk about dungeons. You want to do dungeons to get your Renown experience. So go on Wowhead and look for aspects that will affect your build and improve your overall experience to get the Codex power from them. In the dungeons, we have events like Cursed Shrines, Cursed Chests. That add a little bit extra pizzazz. You know, you get some great experience, great loot from it as well. Each dungeon has different things to do. This one, I'm rescuing dead bodies for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but fresh meat. And then the butcher shows up and ruins everything. Now, comparing the butcher from previous beta to this beta, he's going to be a lot harder. He's going to continue to chase you, and they did fix him so he won't disappear like he did for me right here, which was really annoying because I was doing a damn good job. Halfway through the dungeon, you'll usually have a pretty nice little transition area like this. It turns into a gauntlet of fights with some mechanics, unlike this transition where you just get knocked out by Ashava again for number 7. Yeah. And yeah, gauntlet area, big fight. These fights are actually a little tough sometimes because it's very dense and these mobs do a lot of damage. Once you finish a dungeon, you can get out pretty quickly by going to the map, heading to the entrance area, and you can just leave the dungeon by clicking the entrance stairs. It's a nice little feature that some people didn't know about this, and I think they just ran all the way back to the front of the dungeon. But notice how I'm level 10, but I didn't go to town to upgrade my potions. I never really felt like I was in too much danger, unlike right here. Okay, yeah, Ashava, I'm still counting. That's 8. We know. Go away. I guess I asked for that. We'll just skip ahead to the dig site. Just hug the bottom right hand corner and it'll loop around all the way to the end. And once you get to the bottom of that area, skip ahead from the story parts. And this guy takes a long time to die. So pull up your inventory, clean out your stash, upgrade your gear. And while he dies, we're gonna die too. Oh, look at that. I don't get swiped. Check that out. Only took a few times to learn. Then we get the round swipe and I get a bubble and number 9. All right, back to the quest dungeon. Then snake around on the catwalk to get to this area right here. You're gonna have to take a dip to the left-hand side, well, left of your character side. Climb down the side of the catwalk and then head to the door. And we're gonna skip ahead to this little boss fight. You wanna kill the tethered monsters because the other ones are pretty much pointless, but don't stand in the tethers because it causes you to become vulnerable. Oh, and don't stand on the sides. See where the stairs are? If you stand on the stairs for too long, they're gonna hurt you. We're gonna go to the map, head back to Yelesna, turn some side quests, sell some gear, do what you have to do here because it's a lot smaller than Kyovashad. And from here, we're gonna drop down to grab this Altar of Lilith. I could have gotten it earlier, but I would have to backtrack up here and I tried to avoid that. Now the altar is behind the camp, behind the tree, kind of hard to find. So there it is. There it is. Okay. From here, we're going to jump over the stream to the left and go to the Howling Den cellar. I farmed this a few times. It's definitely worth it if we can farm. I think it can spawn different events as well. I've seen puzzles. I've seen some really different things, really unique things from this cellar. So it's a good one to do. And back to the Ashava fight. Now I've changed my build here for this attempt again. It went pretty well. I got some potions saved. We're using dodges to catch up with her. And then I get hit here. Almost die. But then I can't dodge anymore because I used it to get out of the first hit and get back swiped again. Yeah. Fun times. Fun times. After the cellar, head back to Yelesna. From Yelesna, we'll head north on the way to the main campaign. Now here's a little part you might have missed in your first playthrough if you didn't notice them. The little statue on the top left here, where there's a circle in front of it. If you go and read the tablet and then do the emote, whatever it asks for, it'll give you some random benefit. I've gotten health potions and I've got made invisible once. Then once you continue on the main quest line, I'm showing this because this map sucks. I've always had the exit spawn on the top right. I'd recommend heading that way first. Talk to Mr. Wolf here, and we're going to skip through the storyline. And once you get out of that portal, you're going to fight some monsters, clear this area, and then find the three-headed face statue again. And a little bug, if you are on the right-hand side of it, it won't work right. You have to run around and actually hit it from the front. Yeah, I know. And skip. And we're going to make a big leap here for time's sake, so you can see where the book is for this area. All the way in the back of this little library here. Grab that, head back to her, and then get to this last fight here. I actually really enjoyed this fight. It's got different little mechanics. You basically avoid the center area while chasing her around, kill these eggs as they spawn or they'll explode, and watch out for this weird frontal attack thing that she does that pushes you back. Sometimes the middle area will expand and explode. It becomes a problem for melee fighters, but ranged, it's a cakewalk. Back to Kilvashad for the main quest. Just talk to them. While we watch another swipe. Oh. No. Yeah, that swipe, even if you, it's just poison damage. There's so much poison damage. So much damage if you get hit by those mechanics. It just sucks. Don't do that.
Don't be bad.
And that's 10. And we're going to see a little bit more of the pathing I take because I want to make sure you guys are grabbing all the little things along the way. Like this Altar of Lilith that is on the top left. That spawned a treasure goblin for me, but it ran away. After that, keep heading north and get to this side quest here that's up the ladder right by this dungeon. Now the codex for this dungeon is for rogues. It's an aspect that improves your flurry skill. However, for the Ashava fight, we're going to want to have single target damage, so flurry isn't that important. And we're going to head up to the spring, but first grab this altar to the right. Once you get to the spring, you'll need to go into your emote wheel and customize, put in the wait emote, and it'll spawn your chest right there. Once you grab your chest, go ahead and knock out the Exorcist Cache side quest as well. You'll see I'll skip it here because I wasn't really paying attention and I was trying to get through. After you do the cache quest, come down to Corvos and knock out this little event. It's pretty simple, quick kill everything with a boss at the end and get chests and obols and materials. Unfortunately, they don't give renown, but it's still good to do. Now we're going to keep heading north to finish up the quest, and then check this out. This is a rope shortcut that you can climb across. Real talk, look at the animation. The rope tension and everything, like that's pretty cool. That looks good. And then you drop down into an Ashava fight and get doggy swiped by Ashava and then die for the number 11. All right, after you cross the rope bridge, there is another event on the left-hand side right here that I'm going to skip over. You know those events, but not going to skip the altar right here. Then keep making our way to Kor Valar, so we can head to our main quest with Vigo, which is my favorite character in the game so far. Even beats out Christina. Like, he just beats himself up for being tricked by an actual god, and it's probably the one time he's ever done something shady, but it starts the apocalypse. That's going to cause some long-term trauma for him. Now, before continuing on that main storyline, go ahead and knock out this event right here. It's pretty easy, but it's time limited, so you have to check all the corners for all the little mobs and stuff in the area. And for the sorceress, at level 15, we open up the enchantment quest line. So we're going to take a little bit of a detour here for a pretty big power boost to the sorceress. So you have to go to Kilvashad and then run south all the way back to Navesk first. Grab the little side quest, grab the waypoint, keep heading down south. Now you're going to head back to the area basically where we started, and this altar was not here. The sorceress quest is pretty easy. I'm not going to walk you through it all. You can grab a dungeon down there, an event, and there's another cellar as well. But from the altar of Lilith, we're going to head straight north. Use your altar map with a pin to pin about the location. You'll see once, and there's supposed to be another altar here, but there's not. So where is it? To reset the instance you're on, all you have to do is teleport back into town. And when you come back to town, there's a little side quest here. Come back to the altar. Then from that second altar, we're going to head up to Ashava. This is a great little town that we need to open up. But first we got to go say hi in the church, talk to the priestess. But they're very welcoming and they love strangers. They welcome us, the holiest of welcomes. That's lovely. So wipe them all out and head back down to the houses. There's 5 effigy things to destroy in each of the houses. This first one here has an altar of Lilith behind it. This is where things get a little bit tough. The monsters hit pretty hard. There's a bunch of named monsters here, and I'm not playing very carefully, so maybe that's on me. For the boss fight at the end, try to take them all down kind of at the same time, get them all in her half, but leave Carissa up. She just spawns ads, and I find she's kind of the easiest one to do. No matter which one it is, it'll heal back up to half health. If you know more for that fight or have some better information, please let me know. Then head up to the shrine and we're going to light the fire to restore the town. We saved the town. Yay! But more importantly, we unlock the cultist refuge. This little gem is right in town and it unlocks a codex that improves the sorceress firewall. And here we can claim our second renown reward for the additional potion charge, bring us up to 5. Then head back to the main storyline. So we're going to try and head back toward where Vigo was. However, we're not going to repeat the same route. We're going to go a different way, grab another altar that's about halfway to the Bear Tribe Refuge. Again, make sure to do these events that you see me skipping here. And in the Bear Tribe Refuge, same old, grab the waypoint, grab the side quest, sell all your stuff, and get out. Now, my dude Vigo has been waiting here for a long time, in the cold. Yeah, we took some detours, but now you can go back and do that event again, and then head on to the main quest. But it's not as bad as the previous beta weekends. You'll have to find these little shrines, read the tablet, and then grab the quest idol statue. In the previous betas, this made you slower, but now they updated and it's actually going to speed you up, thankfully. Give this to the slowest person and keep on pushing on. Now this process is pretty much the same for all of them. Kill the monsters, place the idol, read the tablet, grab the idol, and keep moving on. And luckily you do have some side quests for the goatmen, so grab those as well. And for the final boss, if you're not prepared for him, he kind of hurts, but you should be fine. And then follow the quest tracker, talk to Vigo, and then we're going to head to the Endless Staircase Temple. Just run up the stairs, do the cutscene, and you can leave from inside the temple. You don't have to exit it. After the cutscene, we want to TP to the Bear Tribe Refuge, turn in those side quests, grab another side quest, and then we're going to hunt down the elite to the north named Caller. Watch out for these bone turrets and the bone prisons. They can get you locked in and hurt pretty bad. Now this area here is when I first start to notice that my damage isn't quite doing the job. Before this, things started to slow down a little bit, but now with these really big mobs, I mean, I'm chain lightning. I have an okay build going on, but things just aren't quite dying as much as I want. So I have to kite around a good bit and it starts to become a problem. This is why you want to make sure you're not using a horrible build like I am and have kind of okay gear.
Don't be bad.
And speaking of bad gear and a bad build, let's take a look at one of our last little Ashava fights here. We're getting to the end. The Ashava fight has 1 minute left. Look at that footwork. I learned how to dodge. Look at that. Yeah, I'm bleeding from somewhere and get hit by poison and die for number 12. Anyway. All right. Now, while we're cleaning this area out, if you didn't grab the altar up north, grab that and then head back on down to the main quest line in Kor Valar. And new side quests tend to pop up in areas you've been to. So grab that one and we're going to head back to Bear Tribe again. You have to mount this on the shrine after you turn it in. And then back to Yelesna for the main quest. It's a pretty long run north, so we're going to skip ahead, but first, make sure to stop by the shrine and say thank you. And back to the main dig site. We're going to do a big jump through. Once you get through all of that, we're going to be in kind of a bloody temple area where you have to kill some blood bulbs. Some of these you can kill at a distance, but some you can't. Try some stuff out. Let me know how it goes. Last fight, and if it wasn't obvious, we didn't make it. But this was my inspiration to make this video because I don't want this to be the case for everyone. And look, 1 second left and I managed to die again. for a total of 12 deaths. All right, so stop right here and take a moment to prep your build. We're going to want to make sure we have more single target abilities, preferably something that does damage over time, because you're going to be doing a lot of dodging and a lot of moving. This can be a hard fight for melee classes, but maybe the updates helped. This bloody boss will first just spawn pools on the ground that do basic AoE damage. Once you get to the first marker, she covers the ground in blood that deals damage, but now you get a friend to help you, so that's nice. Isn't he lovely? As the fight progresses, the boss will start to do these swipe attack, but they get foreshadowed by the big red mark. But the really dangerous part are the waves. You have to dodge through the waves and get into the open areas. After that, there's a bunch of story stuff, and you're gonna finish up Act 1. And that's it for me. Good luck out there.